Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great start of the afternoon. Let me just pick up the stream controls to get in control of the stream. Um, Come on, the stream controls are taking their time. Sorry, I'm starting just a tiny bit late today. Uh, just check if this is all right. Sorry, my stream controls say I'm not streaming, but I should be streaming. There you go. I am streaming. There you go. Okay, good. So, my apologies for starting an hour later today. I had an appointment this morning and I couldn't make it earlier. And I didn't want to cancel the stream. I know with the millions and thousands of views that I'm getting that many people would be disappointed. So, today we're going to talk about a topic that is very dear to my heart and where I'll have to get a tad bit personal. Hope that is okay. Which is whether you can publish in the top journals if you are not a genius. And the answer is yes. How do I know the answer is yes? Because I'm far from being a genius, and I have two solo author publications in the top journal, one of the top journals in my field, and I have two co-author publications in two top journals in the management field. I also recently got a revise and resubmit again for one of the top journals in my field. So I was able to do it. I was able to do it on my own. I was able to do it while teaching almost 300 hours per week in Portugal with no network to speak of. Okay, so you can pull it off. If I can pull it off, you can pull it off. So how can you do it, right? That is the question. How can you do it? Okay. For me, there were two things or three things that were crucial. The most important thing is that I spent time with the paper. I spent time with the data. I spent time with the idea, and I only published or submitted once I was happy with what I had written. Now, for me, that meant that I needed 3 years between finishing my PhD and sending something out. But then I sent 3 papers out. 2 of them got revise and resubmit decisions. The 3 of them got revise and resubmit decisions. 2 from MIS Quarterly, 1 from MJ. The one from MJ ended up being rejected on the 3rd round. Yes, I know. And I still haven't published it. And the 2 MISQ pieces ended up being published a few years later. Okay. So the first thing was so the first thing is you spend time. So I gave myself 3 years to work on these papers, and my frame of mind was, I'm going to submit these papers, these 3 papers, and if the 3 of them get rejected, I will move down a notch in category. That just means I cannot pull it off, right? Because if you have your data from your PhD, where you spend time collecting the data, thinking through the data, analyzing it, you had time, and you spend 3 years working on these papers, and you don't get the revise or submit, then you're just not at the level, and and sometimes we just have to admit that to ourselves, and and that there are many strategies to follow after that, such as networking better, co-authoring, focusing on your academic superpower. It is what we talked about yesterday. Okay, and the real insight for me was, I actually had several publications before starting my PhD, so I thought it was pretty special. But then I arrived at MIT, where I did my PhD, and And I suddenly realized, no, man. I mean, you're not so special after all. I mean, Sinan Erol and Karim Elakani were and were my were in my cohort. I mean, these are pretty special people. Uh, Ruthann Huizing was in my cohort. She was my office mate. I mean, these people have a talent that definitely I don't have. That very few people that I've met have. So you realize that, and that hit me pretty hard. So um, I had a talk with somebody at MIT whose job is to talk with PhD students who got hit very hard by the realization of their own lack of geniality. Such was my case, and she told me something. She said, uh, I talked with a lot of PhD students like you in the past, and there are basically two routes to do high quality work and to publish in top tier journals. You're either genius or you work a lot, and now you're not a genius. And that was like so liberating for me because then I knew what I had to do. I just had to give myself time. I just had to work a lot, and I had to stay with my ideas enough that at my pace, who is not the pace of a genius, these ideas would flourish and develop. And luckily enough, that has happened. So that's the first thing, right? You need to stay with your ideas. Now, something that is really important that has really helped me through my career is that I kept this concept of a dual pipeline where I was spending a lot of time in this high quality top end papers, but then publishing not a lot but a few like smaller papers in smaller journals that would just keep the CV going and keep my publication targets in check, right? So that's important because obviously you don't want to basically, I mean, it took me 7 years to publish my first paper. So you don't want to be that person because schools won't give you 7 years to publish. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that there was one thing that I knew, which is I had amazing data. I had done a very good job at collecting data, and I had been very lucky with the data that I had collected. Right? My paper in organization science, my co-authors didn't co-author with me because I'm a brilliant theorist. My co-authors co-authored with me because I had amazing data that they did not have themselves. That either they were, unable or unlucky, they just couldn't get it, and I had it, right? And let's not forget that science is about data. And if you're a qualitative researcher, if you're an ethnographer, it's a tough job. Getting good data is not easy. It's not easy at all. Okay. So if you're doing your PhD right now, focus on that, and you're doing qualitative research, focus on that. Focus on the data, because if worse comes to worse, if you have good data, you're not a genius, but you have good data, you'll have co-authors that will want to work with you on that. Okay. And and if you look at top journals, I mean, the special obviously I'm looking mostly at qualitative pieces, but the amount and richness and depth of data right now in top journals is just it's just insane. So that's really, really key. So third thing is, pardon my French, screw this reviewer to talk. I'm a reviewer. You probably are a reviewer. Reviewers put a lot of work in papers, and it's true that sometimes you can get a bad reviewer, but I will tell you that the reason why I was able to publish my papers in top journals is not only because I worked a lot on the ideas, not only because I had great data, but because I had either one or two good reviewers, I had one good associate editor that saw potential in my research. Okay, so work with your reviewers. They are there to help. Okay, and work on that skill, on learning from reviews. It's not answering to questions. It's not responding to reviews, because that says that they have their ideas, you have your own, and you need to sort of like trick them or something. No. It is learning to learn from your reviewers. Learning to get the insight. Just like in any class, there are things that you learn that people tell you that are useful and others that are not. That's what they are for. And sometimes the language is not the best. Sometimes it's not written as well as it should be. Sometimes it's not developmental, but it is there. My reviewers have always been, in the top journals at least, my best co-authors. I've never had as good as feedback from any co-author, and you can see my list of co-authors. Okay, you can see who's there. I don't have many, right? So I'm obviously talking about the senior names there. Never the quality of feedback that I got from reviewers. Now, was all of that feedback useful? No. Was all of that feedback positive? No. Was all of that feedback written in a generous way? No. But some of it was. The most important part of it was. And so you need to learn. If the key to writing single author pieces is to take reviewers as your co-authors, as your silent co-authors. Okay? So, if you know me in person, you know I'm not a genius. Really, like, at all. I'm not a genius at all. But you also know that I'll stay enough time with my ideas so that they become powerful papers. Again, people that publish in top quality journals are either geniuses or people that work a lot. The second thing, if you know me or my work, is that you'll see the overwhelming persuasive power of the data that I choose to publish. Okay. Data will get you a first round of revise and resubmit in top journals, qualitative data at least, and it will give you an opportunity to learn from your reviewers. Okay, everybody. I hope I was able to share something with you in this video. I'm sorry it got a little bit personal. This is obviously a personal issue for me because it's never easy to learn that you're not a genius and to admit that you're not a genius. Perhaps to yourself as well. It's pretty tough. But that doesn't mean anything if you want to produce good research. It just changes the way you do it. That's it. I really want to encourage you individually to really aim high, to really give your good ideas time to grow, and make sure that you have a pipeline of things that are easier to publish, to go along, to give you encouragement, some small successes along the way. Okay? If I can be of any help to give you support for a tough paper, for a tough publication process, please reach out. I'm really passionate about research. And I'll actually, on that note, I'll share with a personal story that always moves me. I got a postcard from a friend who's now a very famous, internationally recognized academic in marketing. I won't say his name because I'm telling a personal story. I don't want to tell a personal story out of place. But it's somebody that when I told to people at IESEG, yeah, sure, I know who they are. And this friend of mine, when he finished his PhD, he wrote a postcard to me, and he said in that postcard, he said that there was one point in his career where he doubted a little bit his research, and this is an amazing person, amazing academic, and he told me that he presented his research in a class where I was, and that I was so enthusiastic about his research that he just had this renewed energy, and that means a lot to me. That much more than any paper or anything. So if I can cheerlead you, I'm here for you. Drop me a message, send me a paper where you need encouragement, where you need somebody to tell you about the gold nuggets that are there. Um, yeah, and if you are in a place where you can do this to others. It really matters a lot. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the stream.